authority manifested in an overbearing manner or in presumptuous claims or assumptions. So that one, what they call the full definition, with the presumptuous claims or assumptions, that's kind of what I wanted to focus on tonight, because I think that a lot of us have this presumption or presume that we're going to have it tomorrow. Now, I worked in newsrooms for across the province that I live in here in Canada for 12 to 15 years, and I reported on a lot of people dying. Of people dying that didn't know they were going to die when they got up in the morning, but didn't make it to the end of the day. And I don't want this to be some kind of heavy, oh my gosh, death topic. But the fact is, many of the people that I reported on did not know that they were going to disappear from the earth that day. Now, what I'm going to do is my definition of arrogance, as I've defined it, and I'm just going to read it straight off my blog, right? So I've got my blog site up here, kendixon.com, www.kendixon.com, kendixon.com. And I'm just going to read it straight out. And then if somebody wants to pop up, they can pop up. We'll talk about it. Leah, if you want to pop in at any particular point, just pop in, because I can't see you right now. Can you see me when I do that?
You can't see me?
No, I can see you now, but what I'm doing is I'm putting my blog site up on the screen.
Okay.
And I suppose I could share it, but I'm just going to read it.
Okay.
So I'm going to read it, and then, well, lucky. Okay. So often, and this happens to me a lot, often I get tagged as an arrogant guy. I know there are people in my circle and in my world that I think a lot of myself. And I will admit that I am proud of my accomplishments. I am proud of my abilities. I am proud of the people I know and the places I've seen and the people I've helped. Mm-hmm. I really believe that with all I've done, I have not scratched the surface of my potential. I live a good life, and I'm constantly working towards my goals and dreams. Every day I do something that gets me closer to what I want and where I want to be in life. I do not think I am arrogant, because I actually know my place. I know that every day could be my last. I respect the time I have been given, and I use it to achieve for myself, my family, and others. I find the truly arrogant are the people I meet that believe they can put things off, do tomorrow what they should do today. I define arrogance as believing you have another day when absolutely nothing is guaranteed. There are no writings that say how many days that you have left to accomplish what you can to reach your potential. There is no way of knowing when you will tell your loved ones for the very last time that you love them. There's more. It is a sad truth that thousands of people do die every day. Some die instantly. Many get a chance to reflect on their lives and regret all the things they didn't do. Many get a chance to think about unfulfilled goals, dreams, and desire. Many live long enough on their deathbed to wish they'd have taken the risks, gambled a little more, loved a little more, expressed themselves a little more, had a bit more of a go-for-it attitude. Anthony Robbins once said, there are thousands of people in hospitals all around the world right now that wish they had the problems that you have. And I believe that to be the truth. Mm-hmm. Arrogance is not about being boastful or braggadocious. Arrogance is wasting the time you have been given because you feel you have more. You feel you deserve more time. Tomorrow is not guaranteed, so what will you do today? What will you do now to really live your ideal life? Make a move forward, discover that you have the ability to achieve, to break through the perceived barriers, to surpass fears and have it all. Please go for it and have no regrets when your time comes. That's the blog that I wrote. That's what I was thinking about when I was laying on the beach at a particular point in my life. I was thinking, yeah, it's time that I did this because I may not get a chance to do this again.
Right.
Makes sense, right?
Right. So what'd you do? What action did you take?
Well, I was there. That was part of my action, right? I mean, that was one of the things that I didn't put off. Just being there was one of the things I didn't put off, right? So many times we continue to work and work and work and work and never actually reap the benefits of the things that we do. And that's one thing that I did during this trip. I just kind of relaxed. I didn't achieve a whole bunch of different stuff. Hey, but
what's going on, guys? How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. This is an excellent subject, by the way. Why wait for the future, and the future is happening right now? Let me add something to you. Would you believe it if I tell you an average person only lives 4,000 weekends? That equals a little bit under 77 years. And, even sadder news for you. You don't even enjoy the 4,000 weekends.
Right.
You are a baby. You are in a young age, and a portion of that, if you are lucky, you are at the nursing home. If I could tell you, if you want to, the society was created this way. I mean, an agricultural age, or agricultural age, people used to live in the day to day. They used to enjoy life. But when the industrial age came in, our society, man-made society, planted the seed in people's head. Hey, just sacrifice today for tomorrow. And in reality, these are the best days of your life. These are truly, Ken and Leah, are the best days of your life. Because in the future, one time my mentor, I was having a bad day. I was having a sad day, and I had like a great mentor, and he passed away sadly like 2 years ago. I said, hey, I have a bad day. He said, what's wrong? What's going on? I said, I have a bad day, man. I'm not feeling well. You know what I mean? And he said, have you ever considered suicide? Life is not for everybody, man. If you feel this way right now at this age, let me tell you, wait until you are my age. If you are feeling sad right now and you are feeling down like this, maybe the future might not be for you. I mean, that changed my whole paradigm. It changed my whole perspective of everything. You know what I mean? So I don't want to steal the show here, but
no.
Ken, that's an excellent. I really like what you wrote. You should write it for us all. We'll use it in the daily.
You should write it for us all.
Excellent. Yeah. Go ahead. Let's add some more. I want to hear more.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, when you said that we only have 4,000 weekends.
Yes, sir.
So anybody who's 37 years or over has already used up half their weekends.
Absolutely. So it's basically, do the math. I mean, there is 52 weeks, and how old are you now? We could do it right now. I mean, when you tell this to someone, there are 3 stages maybe. When they hear it, it's shocking. So they feel sad. They feel really sad. Some of them hate you for saying that. It's considered negative. But what happens is you get sad, you feel negative, you get afraid, then it hits you, and you start. It's a wake call. You wake up and you start taking advantage of every moment in your life. Every time you feel sad, or you feel wasting a moment, or hanging out with the wrong crowd, you're like, hold on one second. Time is the most valuable thing in life. Why would I do this to myself?
Oh, it's true. I think that can motivate a lot of people once they realize where they are in life, at what point, whether it's age or career status or whatever, however they're gauging themselves. But when you're talking purely time, which is what my article on my website is called. It's called Arrogance versus Time, because we only have, if 77 years is the average life of a human being, and that's 4,000 weekends, and you're 37 years old, you're halfway there, my friend. And nobody's saying the last 7, 8, 9, 10 of them are going to be in a state where you can actually enjoy them. So you may be further than halfway there. So it's time to get motivated. It's time to start moving on those goals, those dreams, those things that you've been putting off to tomorrow because you think you have it tomorrow and you may not. Hey, Dr. Corey.
You're not.
Hi, Dr. Corey.
How you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Amazing.
I mean, It's an interesting subject, yes, but myself, I mean, I have a background PhD in business and psychology, 2 PhDs. I mean, there is too many labels going on. In the past, it's kind of like what's going on these days. People are trying to go past labels, pretty much a little bit more than before. What I'm trying to say is that I mean, I work personally with, I coach people in regards to their stage presence, or I have a platform that's called Dreams Come True Coaching that encompasses life and career coaching and business consulting. And I try to have people go beyond the labels and basically increase their frequency to levels that they could basically they could be fully out there. And of course, arrogance is a problem when people get too narcissistic, me kind of a situation, like you describing. But empathetically, to be arrogant could be a good thing.
Absolutely.
In other words, if you have the confidence, number one, that means you're grounded. Number two, if you're empathic, that means that you could not only be who you are 100%, but you could also extend that 100%. Have channels open to feel others, feel their goodness, feel their pain, feel their knowledge, whatever it is. Then there is a communication that goes on.
Yeah, what I'm talking about, though, Dr. Corey, is sort of my definition of arrogance, which is when people, not necessarily people who feel they're, and I get the definition of arrogance, people that feel they're better than each other or more important or that sort of thing. I'm veering off of that course, and I'm suggesting for the purposes of this conversation is arrogance is you believing that you have a tomorrow. And that to me is the height of arrogance. Like if you think that you're going to be here tomorrow and you're going to put off what you could be today until tomorrow because you're that arrogant, you're that much better, you're that much more entitled to a tomorrow than everybody else. That to me, and that's what I'm working with here as a definition of arrogance. It's not the typical Merriam-Webster's dictionary description of arrogance. It's and I'm working with mine because it's my lab. So I'm working with my definition of arrogance, and that is to suggest.
That's great. That's great. What you're describing is it's
hey, Mike,
I come across people like that, like you're describing all the time. I have them in my own family as well. The situation is that yes, they do think that they're gonna live forever almost. But it's psychological. If you want to, like, let's say identify this kind of a thing is a personality issue, and we cannot sell this idea. However, I mean, that's my experience. However, we can be 100% who we are, like you if you with your realization, you being who you are 100% and communicate that with others. Hopefully people will make a shift at some time, and they can be who they are and come to their senses in a sense.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yes. Leah and I were talking earlier today, and she was talking about empathy. Did you want to talk about that, the empathetic part of the arrogance, or did you just mute us out so you can't hear us?
We can't hear you, Leo. I cannot hear it.
Yeah, I think she muted herself.
No, I'm okay. I'm just here to learn from you and absorb. Anything that you're putting
Okay,
out.
I didn't want you to feel left out. So,
Oh, I'm never
Yeah.
left out. You know I can hold my own. I'm fine.
all right, it's all good.
Now, the way you think, Ken, I agree with you and disagree. So I agree with you to an extent and disagree with you. So now there is a positivity of thinking the way you think. You are ignorant of thinking of tomorrow. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. Which, yeah, you are absolutely right. I couldn't agree with you more. But at the same time, if you think the way, hey, I can't guarantee tomorrow, it will have a little bit of negative impact on you. I mean, you basically, what are you doing? You're depriving people of hope. And you can never deprive people of hope because that might be the only thing they have. The main reason why we get up every day and maybe work out or eat or go to work or go to enjoy is that tomorrow. If you tell me, dude, you don't have it tomorrow, that's a problem, you know? Another thing you talked about dreams, Ken, you have to live your dreams. I couldn't agree with you more because if you are not fulfilling your dreams right now as we speak, I guarantee you, or I bet you my life, you are fulfilling someone else's.
That's true,
So-
but there's a country song that says it that talks about it as well. It talks about live every day as if it's your last, that kind of idea, and one day it'll be
Gandhi
true.
said it. It's a Gandhi's quote.
So well, there's a country song that sings about it too. I can't remember who does it, but anyways, it's and one day it'll be true. So what my motivation behind this was, what my motivation behind my blog entry was, and doing this blab is to kind of, as you said earlier, wake people up. Look,
Absolutely.
you know what? If you've got something you want to accomplish, there's no telling how much more time you have to accomplish it, to achieve that, whether it's for you or whether it's for somebody in your world, whether it's for somebody in your circle. If you have a goal, if you've got a dream, you've got something you want to accomplish, and you think, well, I'll do that tomorrow, right? Yeah, that puts a ton of pressure. There's another negative to that, because that can put a ton of pressure on you. Now I got to do this, and this, because I may not be able to do it tomorrow. I'm not telling people, and I'm not suggesting that people dwell on the fact that at some point it's going to come true. What I'm saying to people is light a fire under your ass and get shit done that needs to be done, because if you don't have that tomorrow, at least you did the best you could while you were here.
Life is too short to be small. You have to live big, you know?
Yes.
And people say life is too short. Life is too short, yes, but it's enough if you live your life right. And if you live your life right, I mean, life could be right for you. It might not be right for me. We just have to be true to ourselves. We have to take from life. Don't let life take from you. I mean, the sole purpose of life is to live. I mean, the difference between an animal and a human being, the animal truly know that the sole purpose of life is to be lived. I mean, my cat, I have my cat around here somewhere. He truly lives. I mean, I know how good the weather around here is just by where my cat sits at that day, you know? And that's the reality. And we have to remind each other. And I think you have an excellent message in here. And that's why I got in, because it's excellent.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I just don't want people to be sitting around hoping that something's going to come their way when they have to work towards it, right? So, and that's really what this whole thing is. And sincerely, and right from here, man, it bothers me when I see it happen. When I see people, when I hear people and see people putting stuff off, that to me, again, as I've said already, that to me is arrogance. What do you mean you're putting it off? What? Yeah. Till when? That time may not come. You may not even see lunch. You know, I don't want to bum anybody out, but at the same time, I want people to realize they forget tomorrow. You might not see lunch. So what are you going to do? You better get off your ass and get some stuff done.
You know, sometimes people are afraid. People are afraid. You know, let me tell you one thing. We are so occupied. People are always occupied. People are always running away from the person within them. I mean, we always try to occupy ourselves with music or TV or a friend or something, because the person within us is the worst enemy we could have. That person within us might always feed us negative things, so we try to distract. I mean, yes, if you take these people that you telling them, hey, you have to live, you have to live, you have to live. If you take them from their environment or from their routines or schedule or whatever they do every day, if you take them and truly tell them, here we go live, they will get lost because they have been occupied and sleeping for a really, really long time. It's scary. It's their non-comfort zone anymore. It's unknown what's live, you know? So basically living, it's a you know, earlier I was walking to the beach. I live in San Diego, by the way. You're in Canada, right?
Nice. Yeah, I'm in Canada.
Cool. Where in Canada?
I live in Kelowna, British Columbia.
Okay, great. So you were let's see, what is that? Is it west?
Yeah, it's West Coast. It's about 4 miles north of Vancouver.
Great.
About
I was
6 hours
walking
north
over.
of Seattle. It's that 6 or 7 hours
I
north
see.
of Seattle.
I see. I never been there, but I heard a lot of beautiful things about that
Yeah.
area.
I've been to
Amazing.
Vancouver. Vancouver is nice.
Nice,
Beautiful.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Canada's
Yeah.
got
I
some
made a
good
mistake.
spots.
I
Liam
lived in
should head up there
Seattle
one
and
day.
I went to Seattle and I didn't have my passport, so I never went to Vancouver. So it's in my bucket list for sure.
Yep.
So what I was thinking earlier,
Why are you putting it off?
huh?
Yeah, I said it. Why are you
No.
putting it off?
Wait, did he say a bucket list?
Yeah, he
It is
did.
in my bucket.
Oh,
He's putting
no
it off.
bucket list. Bliss list. You got to
Wow.
live. Bliss list.
So I'm not putting it off, actually. I'm not. So it's in the bucket list.
Bliss.
I have a list of doing things.
You just
Honestly-
opened it up, buddy. You just opened it up. You gonna
You know,
do it?
I'm not.
You gonna do it
Listen,
tomorrow?
I'm here with you. I'm here with you because I agree with you 100%. I take from life. I take from my days every day. I take from my life every day. I hold myself accountable to live
Yeah.
to the fullest. Maybe if we talked 3 years or 4 years ago, I would agree with you. But that life is behind me, no more.
And
So,
I get it. I get that we can't do everything in one day. And I'm just giving you a bit of a rib there, right? I get that we can't do, you can't get to Canada and you can't get to Mexico and Europe and all these things that may be things that you want to do. I get all that stuff. But if you're not in some level moving forward towards something,
Yeah.
it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing, right? And here's the other thing that and I've written a blog about this, is priority, right? We can only have one priority at a time, just by its very definition. And you can check Webster's for that too, right? The very definition of priority is singular. You cannot have more than one. You can have a priority, and everything else falls underneath that. So I understand the process of figuring out what it is you want, and then going after that thing, and that your number one priority should get you the most attention, energy, and focus that you can give it until you achieve that, and then move forwards. But so I get it. I just, when you said you had a bucket list and you want to get here one day, I'm like, why is he putting it
Nice.
off?
You think it on me now, so it's fine. I understand. But bucket list means you're not putting it off. It's in your bucket list.
Okay,
So what I realized today, I mean, too many beautiful things in this world, man. Too many beautiful things. I cannot believe how much beauty we have around us. It's a gift. It's a blessing in disguise. But automatically, subconsciously, we find ourselves dwelling on the negative. I'm a victim of that. We all a victim of that. I mean, it's impossible. If you are 100% adapt, if you adapt and adopt to our society 100%, that's a sign of a mental illness, because we are not created to live in this box and in life like this. You know what I mean? So we all not normal within, from inside. We all lack something because we are not 100% what we are supposed to be. So I was walking and I found the person within me started telling me a few things. Of course, I'm sure each one of you is a victim of the same. I said, hold on one second. I'm in the middle of a beautiful area. The beach is in the front of me. I have a breeze, this, and I'm healthy, I'm young. So what I realized, our thought process or our mind or our mind's comfort zone is in the negative side. I don't know why it takes us there. So what we need to do is, it's a habit. Positivity is a habit. We need to readjust our mind and create a habit of always being in the positive side. Do you agree or disagree? Do you see my point here?
Yes, very much so.
I do also, believe that life has, several layers to it. So depends on where we're putting our focusing. If we are living life as a bucket list or a list or something to be fulfilled in that list type thing, is very cerebral to me. Like if we focus on what turns us on and what we love to do, or where love will take us, or what our feeling will take us, and where we belong, or in other words, where we are being pulled towards or pushed towards, or mutually things happening that way, we will live a more spontaneous life. I think people feel sometimes guilty that they didn't fill their bucket list, and they're getting older and they get into this kind of anxiety kind of thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that could absolutely happen. To further your point about people focusing on the negative, I think, and what I do in my coaching is I notice a lot of people do that, and I think it's just easier. It's easier for us to figure out what we don't want than it is to figure out what we do want. And I talk about this a lot when I'm doing my sessions or doing my seminars or the one-on-one stuff. But it's important. That's what births the clarity for you to figure out what you do want. So if you already know what you don't want, and let's say, okay, we're like Dr. Corey says, we have a list. Let's just talk about the list. And I talk about this in my seminars. So you figure out what you don't want. And let's say you're going after an ideal vacation or an ideal job or an ideal partner. I believe it's absolutely necessary to know all the things you don't want in that partner so that you can birth clarity as to what you do want. And a lot of times you can do that by referring to previous situations, whether it's your previous job, whether it's your previous partner, whether it's your previous car. And you can look at your previous job, for example, and say, okay, I didn't like this about my job. I don't want this in my next job. I don't want this I had all these things in my last job. I don't want this. I don't want weekends. I don't want a nasty boss. I don't want it to be too far from my home. So knowing what you don't want is, I think it's imperative to figure out what you do want, because once you know what you don't want, you can find the opposite of that and say, if you don't want a job where you work 9 to 5, what do you want? You want a job, or if you don't want a job where you work weekends, what do you want? You want a job that's Monday to Friday. If you don't want a job that you have to commute 3 hours to work, what do you want? And that's the big question, right? And sometimes people get stuck on that, right? They get stuck on all the negative stuff. And it's important to know it, observe it briefly, get rid of it, and focus on the opposite of those things and what it is that you really do want. I want a job that's close to my work. I want a job that's Monday to Friday. I want a job that pays me well. I want a job that the boss is nice. All those things that you had in your last job that you didn't like, you can now figure out what you do want, and that will get you clarity to the direction you should be heading right out of the gate.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how you simplify that. And I tell you, I was a victim of this. What you just said, you described to me basically. So from 2003 till 2007, I was working in the banking industry, and I was doing the West Coast account, and I was in the East Coast, and I started at 11 p.m. and I worked till 10 p.m. And 11 a.m. till 10 p.m. And I hated it. From 2003 to 2007. I hated every moment of it. And I just did it. I don't know why I did it. Like now I look at myself, I look back and why did I do this to myself? It was as easy as start looking for another job, or as easy as do something about it. And I didn't, So a lot of people are in that trap right now as we speak. So what you just said it's unbelievable. Yes, if I sat down with a pen and piece of paper and I just wrote down the things that I do not want, and that alone will answer the things that I want.
You find the opposite of those things, and it's like that, and it's such a powerful tool.
Critical thinking. Sometimes it just takes you sitting down and think a little bit. And I mean, lots of us don't. I didn't.
Yeah.
I personally didn't.
I mean, and I use this when I talk about in my seminars. I talk about this because we know how to do this. We already do this in different aspects of our life. We don't go into and Leah loves this one. We don't go into a restaurant and tell the waitress everything we don't want on the menu. We tell them what we do want, right? We don't go to a travel agent and say, okay, I don't want to go to Cuba, and I don't want to go to Barbados, and I don't want to go to Jamaica. Do you know where I want to go yet? No? Okay. I don't want to go to Africa, and I don't want to go to whatever. We don't do that. We already know what we want in certain areas of our life, but other areas of our life, we focus on all the places that we don't want to go, right? Or all the things that we don't want to have in our life, which is great if we can flip that coin and find out what the opposite of those things are. It's a powerful tool.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But
I want to say something about what you're saying. It's like reminds me of looking at the, like they say, do you look at the glass half full or half empty? So maybe maybe it would be a good thing to try. Yes, write down what you don't want, but live what you do want.
To answer your question, Dr. Corey, my cup runneth over. Just so you know.
What is that?
To answer your question about half full, half empty, my cup runneth over.
It's full.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I for some reason we didn't hear you. Go ahead, say it again, Ken.
To answer your question about whether my cup is half full or half empty, my cup runneth over.
I see.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Corey. What were you saying?
Yeah, I'm saying, we want. We have a lot of dreams. We want to get to places that we have never gone before, and we like to go. And there is a lot of things that we don't want in our life. It's good to identify the, where the bumps and the places that are there that we don't want to run into, but find our path and just live it in a reality for the path that we are making and keep it focused. But the thing is that many times we may not see the destiny because it's like it is invisible there. But if we take the steps of what we do want in reality, it's going to get us to Vegas that we want to go, for example.
I see.
Absolutely. And further to that, sorry to interrupt. Further to that is whatever you went through for those 4 years, whatever that shift was that you hated and hated, that all sorts of things that happened to you in that time that prepared you for everything that you have now and that's coming your way. Absolutely.
I couldn't agree with you more. And let me add something to Dr. Corey. So you made me think. We all have this picture in our head, and that picture might be our worst enemy. We all have this picture of how our life should be and how our future should be, how our relationship should be, how our family should be. And the universe gives us these things, or we work hard on doing these things, and we have them right now. But that picture that we have in our head might be our worst enemy, depriving us or robbing us from enjoying what we have. So basically, it might be a delusional picture, like in relationships, for example, commercials and the media and the news and all these things brainwash people of how life should be. So you meet with someone and you interact with them, or you get in a relationship with them, and you realize that what they're looking for, or what they're asking, or they want is delusional. Does not exist. It would never exist. But it was printed in their mind. It was planted in their mind at a young age. I mean, they live their life hoping for that. So maybe, I'm not sure if I got your point correctly. I just want to add this to it. We have to always be careful of the picture that we have in our mind. That might be our worst enemy.
Yeah, not to. In other words, what you mean is like that. Do you mean like not to exaggerate too much, or be a real, be somewhat realistic? In other words, take the steps of reality.
Absolutely. So basically, let's see. Basically you said it. Yeah, we have to be realistic of our needs or our wants.
I think that what's important to remember, and being realistic, I'm challenged. I'll tell you I'm a little bit challenged with that, because I've got things in my life that are way better than I could have ever imagined them to be. So if I would have contained it to something that I figured was realistic for me, I would have never gotten what I got. So I think that it's important to realize that we don't even know. Like, there's so many things we don't even know how good they can be until we pursue them. And we're unlimited. I mean, we're unlimited in what we can achieve. But what the point I was going to make is one of the best ways to achieve and to have more things to be grateful for is to be grateful for the things you already have. And I think that may be part of what you're saying. If you can, because I deal with the law of attraction. So if you can vibrate from a point or from a place of gratitude, where, oh, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for this, and you just take stock of your life and how amazing things are for you. That sends out, I mean, it's even given me a little bit of goosebumps now as I talk about it, because there's so many good things in our lives that we have to be grateful for. And when you resonate and when you vibrate from that point, more things for you to be grateful for just come your way. They just come your way because you're open to them. So I wouldn't. I get what you mean about being realistic, so that you don't have a sense of failure, and I get that. But I also know that our potential is way beyond what we believe it is.
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree with you. What I'm trying to say within those lines of what you're saying is that many people sometimes they say, oh, like, this dream is like almost impossible, and they don't want to go through the, steps of it to even get there. Like they say, a journey to 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And the second step and the third step and the fourth, people have to go through the process of the crazy dream that they want, but they got to take those little baby steps to finally get there, and not say, this is just not realistic, and put it away,
I'll tell you, if Richard Branson had thought that way, we wouldn't have a Virgin Airlines, we wouldn't have a Virgin Records. There'd be so many things that we have in our world right now that wouldn't be, because people thought, I don't know if that's even possible.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I have a platform, about my dreams come true coaching is, very, it's I have listened to Law of Attraction, and that's what basically it resonated with me, this platform. And what it is that I work with frequency and telepathic conscious dreams, and be able to open our third eye and the dimension of consciousness that is very, exclusively wacky. So, I left my PhD going forward because I wanted to go into the unknown. And Mr. Kenneth, this thing that you're presenting, I mean, it takes courage to really go and live our dreams and be a dreamer and be a romantic person with the, we have to make decisions with our head, but don't live in the cerebral, reasoning, calculative, only math kind of a conscious. We have to be not only confident and loving, but we have to be using our head to decide to go for our dream, to March 4th.
You did it.
March 4th and take leadership and take bunch of bozos that say it's not possible with us to the promised land.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. March 4th, by the way, one of my favorite days. I always tell people they should March 4th towards their goals. So that's why when you said March 4th, I'm like, oh, one of my favorite. Today is
so let me add something very quick. And I would like your feedback about this. So being a dreamer is not enough, and I'll tell you why. And I believe I read this in Awakening the Entrepreneur Within Me. Maybe I could be wrong. So this is what we believe. Each one of us within us, there is a dreamer, thinker, storyteller, and a doer. So I think we lost Ken maybe. So basically, the dreamer dreams of an idea and hands it to the thinker. The thinker thinks of an idea and hands it to the storyteller. The storyteller tells it to people hoping for feedback, then takes the idea and hands it to the doer, and the doer executes. So let me tell you this again, very quick. So within us, there is a dreamer, a thinker, a storyteller, and a doer. So basically, most of us have a weak link. It might be the dreamer, might be the thinker, might be the storyteller, or the doer. Now, if you have a weak link, the idea will die within you, wouldn't be executed. So Richard Branson might be the dreamer, right? And he might be the thinker and the storyteller and the doer. Rarely will you find someone has the four, right? So the good news is this: these people, what do? They create a mastermind business group. So each one of us here have a weakness, but together we have none. So what do? They go out there and they bring someone that will balance them, and that's how the idea executes. You see, the Wright brothers, they had an idea. They were two brothers that balanced each other. One was a salesy guy, and one was a dreamer, right? But they would have never executed the idea if they didn't go outside and find maybe someone to sponsor them, someone to direct them, or someone, you know what I'm talking about? So sometimes a dreamer enough is not enough. A dreamer alone is not enough. That's why it's very, very important to surround yourself with people that will push you higher. I could be a dreamer sitting here by myself, dreaming all day, all night, all week, every month. I could dream all my life. But if I don't have people that will push me to make my dreams a reality.
Yeah, that's where coaches come in, right? And
Yes.
I'll quote something. I'll paraphrase Anthony Robbins once again. He talks about intention, and he talks about dreams, and he talks about goals, and he talks about how you can have a goal or a dream or intention of bench pressing 300 pounds in the gym. When you get to the gym and you see that 300 pounds, it takes a little bit more than just intention, dreams, and goals to lift that 300 pounds, right? It takes work, it takes practice, it takes persistence in order to perhaps build up to that. And to mention, to carry on with something that Dr. Corey was talking about, and keeping it real and that sort of thing. What I suggest for my clients is they start small. I mean, just to get evidence that this stuff actually works, that, you know, you're setting the intention and following through and having the positive mindset. Start small. Start with a free cup of coffee, if that's what it takes. Set the intention that you're going to go out today, and somewhere, somehow, by the end of today, somebody is going to buy you a coffee, and then take it to a lunch, and then take it to a dinner, and then take it to whatever, and then whatever, and then whatever, and watch how you can, because we don't necessarily need. A lot of people tell me they want money. You don't necessarily need money to acquire things. I don't need money to get a coffee. I can get a free coffee from, I can just ask somebody. I could ask the guy behind me at Starbucks, hey, you want to buy me a coffee? We'll sit down and talk for 5 minutes. I'll probably get a coffee just because I asked, right? So we don't necessarily need what we think we need to get what we think we want. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Sometimes you just have to ask. Set the intention and ask. So I think if you start small, if you need evidence, if you need proof that you can acquire anything you want just by asking, start small with a cup of coffee, go for lunch, go for dinner, and then go for whatever else you want. Eventually, you're going to realize that there's a lot of stuff out there that people. I have an associate. I'm going to tell you this quick story, and I know, Dr. Corey, you're going like this, so I know you want to get out, but I'm going to tell you this quick story because
actually you just finished Dr. Corey's. Dr. Corey said that you got to start with the first step. That's exactly what he's saying. Yeah, you got to start small.
I have an associate that I know that will walk into somebody's house and they'll see a clock on a mantle. And I've told this story before. They'll see a clock on the mantle. They've never met this person in their life. They're just being introduced to this person, right? For the first time, they walk into this person's house and they see a clock on the mantle and they go, I really, really like that clock. That's a great clock. Ask them a little bit of history. Where'd you get the clock? What kind of clock is it? How long have you had the clock? I'd like that clock. Can I have that clock? And she tells me 70 to 80% of the time, the person will say, yeah, go ahead. I'm done with it. She's never met these people in their life, but she expressed some appreciation for the clock. She appreciated what it was, and she just simply asked, "Hey, can I have that clock?"
Yeah.
And they give it
So
to
basically,
her because they're done with it. They've had it. They've given their appreciation to it. They don't need it anymore. They've got a new clock somewhere, and you'd be amazed at the stuff you can get if you just ask.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me say something about this whole thing, the dream issue, because I don't know if you have read or listened to Alan Watts, which
I
has
heard
been
of him, but I don't know.
one of the greatest. Has been one of my biggest mentors, because I exposed myself to his philosophy, and he was a firm believer that you can have all the dream you want, but if you don't have a sensible articulation about it, you're just gonna go around and tell people I'm high, So, I have created in my coaching and consulting and I put it in a hashtag, I've created a language of order, is called. In other words, people have to learn how to articulate their dreams to a point that by you just communicating, in other words, your dreams is like how people program software for a computer. It's just like that, but it has a different telepathic frequency to it. So I coach people to come up, because it's a very personal language. People have to get articulated, in a biblical sense. They have said the word has more power than your word, so we have to learn how to communicate, to bring our dreams from the beyond the clouds. In other words, I say to people, you have to keep your feet on the ground and your head above the clouds. And if you could just live your life and be very real in your dream while you're living it at every moment and time, which is now, here and now, you're going to be a master. You're going to, it's a skill that you develop, or an articulation that you develop. I help people to be able to come up or talk not the real mother language, not the academic language, but the Mother Earth language. And that's something that I think
basically, Dr. Corey,
I think this would probably resonate with Miss Leah, probably.
So what are you
Yes,
saying,
very
just
much
to
so.
understand you correctly? What are you saying? You saying you help people to be in the moment, to exist in the moment. Is that what you're saying? Basically, is that the summary of what you just said?
Well,
is that
what I'm saying is that, we're talking about dreams and not give up on our dreams and live our dreams and all of that. But I'm saying there is a language. There is a language of dreams that we have to be able to master. Many people have a lot of.
Tell me a little bit about that. How can I translate my dreams or articulate my dreams in words? Just like explain it to me like I'm a 3-year-old.
You see, it's the funny thing about it is that, first of all, is a clarity. Or becoming
exactly what I was thinking.
I read your mind. I'm kidding. Because we have to have a clear sense, like you have to have a like a right magnification in order to see your dreams so real that you're living it right now in your room right here with me. So if you're having cataracts or something is like foggy in front of your face, or a dream is something that is not real, or is never, or you're working very hard on it, or you have a bucket list to make it come true, and you're not living your life at this moment in time. How are you going to get there? You know what I'm saying?
How about if you write it down and put a date on it?
You know what? I wouldn't even date it. But what I would tell you is, like I was talking about finding out what you don't want, to figure out what you do want, that will birth the clarity for you. And I'll share this story with you. I had a client that I was working with that was looking for an ideal partner, and she went on a date with this guy, and the guy was virtually everything that she had on her. She had her don't want list, and then she had her do want list, and virtually everything. But you know what she forgot? she forgot to put teeth. The guy showed up, he had no teeth, okay? But it wasn't on her list. It wasn't on her list, right? So when she showed up, when she showed up for the date and he showed up, it was everything that was on her list, but she'd forgotten to put down teeth. So clarity is important. But also now it's important. Now, I know that's funny, but it's a true story. But I know it's funny. But here's the other thing you got to think about. Okay, when that happened to her, she was like, "So he wasn't perfect after all, right?" And I'm like, "Great, yes, but how much closer are you to finding your perfect, right? And celebrate that closeness, right? You came that close. That's how hard the universe, what I'll call the universe, the energies that are around us that we actually have inside of us, that's how hard they work to bring us whatever it is that we want. So she got that close. She forgot one detail, teeth, right? But she got everything she wanted, at least she told the universe or her energy. She got everything she told her energy she wanted, but she forgot that there was so when you do that list, you have to remember it's fluid because you're going to learn along the way. You're going to find somebody, like I'll use the partner thing again, right? So he didn't have teeth, right? And maybe he didn't know how to play the guitar, but she didn't know that yet. Maybe but that was one of the things on her list. But she got pretty close, right? So celebrate the fact that he could fix her car, that he had his own house, that he had a good job, that he didn't smoke, that he wasn't an alcoholic, that he had long hair, all the other things that she wanted on her list. She should celebrate how close she came. Because that is a positive vibration. Do you know what I mean by that, right? That's like, oh my God, I came so close. Right? Tomorrow it's going to be even better, right? Do you know what I mean?
And I'll give you an example. I'm a victim of that. You know, I planted three trees outside here, right? My wife hates them, by the way, but they remind me of my childhood. You know, so I planted a fig tree, a grapefruit tree, and another tree that I thought it's a peach tree, but end up like some other fruit, right? So I went outside after like I'm nursing these trees for 2 months, right? And I went outside just like last month. I went outside to look, and the grapefruit tree is so nice, and the fruits are always showing, and the other trees healthy and great, but the fig tree, man, it looks like it's dying. So I walked back sad, and as soon as I walked into the kitchen, I realized 2 trees are blooming for me, super healthy, so great, and one is dead, and I'm coming back sad because I'm only thinking of the one bad thing, not enjoying the 2 beautiful things.
It's true. It's true.
So that's exactly maybe what he's saying. I did not celebrate how close to the dream,
right,
or to the things that I
I
only
want to
focus on.
you too from that story, from your story. You planted a grapefruit seed, right? You didn't get a fig tree.
Actually, it was
right?
a small tree. It was.
You know what I'm saying? When you planted the grapefruit, you didn't get a fig tree from your grapefruit, right? So it's the seeds that you're planting that are going to get you what you want. Right?
Absolutely.
With the tree or with your goals, right? The seeds that you're planting, right? If you plant the seed for an orange tree, don't expect apples, right?
Yeah.
So you got to plant the right seeds, and that's where clarity comes in, planting the right seeds.
So I want to say something about clarity and
Please
precision.
do.
Finally, Leah's in the house. Go ahead.
I've been trying to get you to talk, you know.
I know.
Thank God, you know.
Here's
So
the
sometimes it's good.
Clear the floor.
Like, that's a lot of pressure now. Look, I just wanted to talk about being clear on what you want. I think, is it Fasal?
Yeah.
I think you touched on it a little bit when you said people are in a haze. They're kind of on autopilot. I think the thing about it is we have to realize that we're on autopilot and try to kind of booby trap our lives. And we have to know where we are. We have to really calibrate and have a real reality check of where we are, because we're doing so many things that we don't want to do and landing at, and we're ended up like, how did we get here? Because you've been doing so many things that you weren't supposed to be doing, or you didn't want to do, or that wasn't right for you, and you're on someone else's path, and you haven't calibrated yourself carefully enough to get to where you actually want to get. And it's okay to be off your path a little bit, but you need to take ownership in that and realize you're a little bit off your path so you can adjust a little bit, so you can land somewhere else, so you can know that where your actions land you. So I think of it one thing, you have the big picture at the end and you know what you want. Us being mindless, kind of on autopilot just because we've been there so long. It's not like we're just going to snap up as a generation. So we have to do something about that within our power, which is to be very clear on what you want. Because what happens if you say you want a car, you have all these avenues of cars. You have that kind of car, that kind of car, that color car, that kind of car, that kind of make, that kind of model. And then once you start to get clear, those paths start to drop off and you don't have those paths anymore. And then once you have the clear path right to your thing, you can then look down and just focus on the first step right ahead of you and keep going in that first step. And you can't even zone out sometimes because life gets to you and you can kind of mindlessly wander on that path once you're very clear and precise and tuned into where you want to go and you've seen the route ahead of you. So if you can booby trap yourself to be very clear on where you're going, make sure the path is clear, and then just go towards it, you will only have steps in time before you get to your destination. So
Absolutely.
Everything is then becomes attainable in the whole entire world. And I love
has
what
that
happened?
been I just wanted to ask you if that has been working for you. Go ahead.
Oh, it definitely works for the good, because then you can kind of just go through life with the shoulders, with a weight lifted off your shoulders. You can kind of just go. You're always going to be who you're supposed to be talking to, where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to do, hearing what you're supposed to hear, taking in what you're supposed to take in, and doing what you're supposed to do. And that's why you got to be tuned into yourself, and you got to speak. You got to speak to the world and to the universe for it to come up and be allowed to be given to you. But if you're on autopilot and you're thinking in this negative route, you're thinking about negative things so much, so that's what's coming into your life. That's what you're vibrating out on a natural kind of just energy. You don't even know you're doing it anymore. And then all this stuff is coming to you, and then you're getting bogged down by it because you think, how do I get out of it? Why is this happening to me? So you go negative and negative and negative. But if we can booby trap some things and really get clear on what we want and just put attention, energy, and focus, like Ken says, onto it and do work in that, we will get any and everything that we want to attain, and nothing is out of reach at all.
It's basically control. You got to control. Now let me just clarify something. You know.
Okay.
So what Ken said?
I want to talk about Joseph too.
We agree 100%. And this, you have to clarify. You have to this and this and that. But this is where we're going to disagree. And please convince me. I will be a believer. So now I clarify things and I take control and I work on everything, every word you said. I agree, but this is what I disagree. The main reason why I clarify and work on myself and take control is to find a way to work on it and do it myself, because I'm not a believer on the universe will give it to you. I just don't believe in that. I don't believe that I'm going to clarify and write all these things and wish for all these things.
But that's the thing. Even if you don't believe in the hocus pocus, still the fact that you're very clear on what you want, you start to talk to who you're supposed to talk to. How many degrees of separation is there really? And then with technology, I can get in front of whoever I want to get in front of. When I focus and I'm clear on what I want, even if you don't believe in the hocus pocus or the miracle of the universe doing it for you, you're doing it with what you're doing, being tuned into yourself, getting into the environment and the space and the mindset of what you're supposed to be doing. And then you make the phone calls, and then you see, I wanted Grant Cardone to come to my event one time. So I put it out there. I sent him a message. He told me it's $50,000. That's not my end game. That's not the amount of money or the investment that I would want to make on Grant Cardone, because he's not my kind of partner. But now I know how to get Grant Cardone. I get somebody that loves Grant Cardone and partner with me to do an event to make $100,000 to invest $50,000 to get Grant Cardone at the event. I got it. I'm done. My dream is already done if that was my end game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's just the point of going out and making work. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask Faisal. Have you ever, and I love your thoughts, because it's working whether you know it, believe it, or understand it. You don't have to understand it or even believe it for it to be working for you. And it's been working for you the whole time. But I want to ask you this. Have you ever really, really, really wanted something and got it? Okay?
Absolutely.
And got it, but never gave it any attention, energy, or focus, or believed you could have it? But never given a thought. It's happened for you? Because I don't know anybody it's happened for.
Well, there are things, Ken, there are things in my life that happened to me without me working on it. You know.
No, but did you not even think about them?
No, I did think about them.
Exactly.
There are things that I did think of and I wanted, did happen.
And that's
Yes,
the
they
point,
are.
right? Is if you don't think about them and you don't give them your attention, energy, and focus.
I agree, but it does not happen all the time. It does not happen all the time. I can't sit here and say I'm a great swimmer, I'm a great swimmer, I'm a great swimmer, and just go and jump in water. I mean, you can't learn how to be a good swimmer from hoping that you are a good
Just like you
swimmer.
can't bench press 300 pounds in the gym without the works. I get it. It takes work.
Head in the clouds
Yeah.
and
So
living
what
on the
I'm saying,
ground. It's all right to know that you're not
one
gonna
thing,
anticipate that you're not gonna float. So put some floaties on. You
You
still
know,
learn to swim. You get
I
it
like
done.
to,
But
I
at least you
like
know the
to,
steps to take.
oh, uh, I like to not convince you, but convince myself. I like to
okay.
say that, because life have different levels and different angles, and depends on what angle or which angle we are looking at. There are people who absolutely live just by, saying this life is a miracle. Like, I have a religious brother that he just, like, everything is just what God wants, and whatever I do doesn't matter. I just do what I have to do. If God wants, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't happen. I mean, like, there are people in different ways that they live, but like, with
Absolutely.
the Abraham Hicks of law of attraction that Mr.
Yeah.
Kent said, it's a good book to, to refer to. And there is, like, people that they get so in tune with their mind, body, and spirit whenever whatever they want in their life, that they get so in tune that they almost are living a automatic, intentional, decisive life, that they hardly don't recognize that they're making decisions, they're calculating their stuff, and they're dreaming at the same time. They're like they call them like they're in the zone. And many athletes have talked about this. So this is not something that necessarily, like, if you don't do it physically, it's not the miracle won't happen. But it's all of that involved. It's like is a triangular thing. You do some things that you consciously do, you do some things that you subconsciously do, and there's some things that you're just doing totally unconsciously. And these are happening simultaneously. So if, for what you're saying, for example, is something that maybe you're putting your focus just on the physical, maybe aspect of it. Maybe you go to, church or temple or something, and you say, you know what, I go and do my prayer too, but you know what, I bring myself down to reality and I do my stuff, and hopefully things would happen. Of course, you do this and you do that and you do the other, hopefully things does happen. We are agents of, or like, in
Our
the
reality.
law of attraction says, we are co-creators. We are not the creator, we are co-creator. So, like, in this blab here is a perfect example. We are satelliting, or we are collaborating, we are expanding our dream more than one of me or two of you, or but four of us together, we create a synergy that is a matrix that expands all of, a lot more than just myself.
So here's the thing: you're attracting everything to you. And to Dr. Corey's point, you attracted this blab. You could be doing anything. You could be curling right now. I'm Canadian, so I'm going to say you could be curling. You could be playing softball.
I
You could be
physically
playing
found it.
paintball.
I physically looked for it. I went through blabs, and I physically
Here's
did
the
it.
thing, right? There's
Curling?
no such
Yeah,
thing
but
as
maybe,
coincidence, right? There's no coincidence, right? When you ask for something, it gets delivered to you, depending on how much attention, energy, and focus you give it, and how much you believe you can really achieve it, right? Those are the two key factors, right? So everything that happens to you, every person you meet, I wrote a book, it's called Hyper Awareness, right? Because you have to be aware of the things that are arriving in your life that are getting you closer to your goal. It could be a person, it could be a train ride, it could be that you missed your bus. And here's the other thing: is it's not always what you perceive to be good things that happen to you to get you closer to your thing, right? and I've talked about this on Blab here before. If you're in a parking lot, somebody rear ends your vehicle, I truly believe I'm in what they call an inverse paranoid. I believe the universe is conspiring to do me good. So if somebody rear ends me in the parking lot, the universe is decided that it's so important for me to meet that person that I better go back there, stick out my hand and go, hi, I'm Ken Dixon. You may have heard of me. That's my website, by the way. You may have heard of me.com. You may have heard of me. We're supposed to meet. Either I have a lesson for you, you have a lesson for me, or we have a lesson for each other. Because every person that enters your world, from the person who gives you coffee in the morning to the person that shuts the door on you in the elevator, all of those people are people that are supposed to be in your space. They have something for you, or you have something for them.
I love the way you think.
Yeah, we do.
I truly envy the way.
We do.
That's a beautiful way of thinking.
We do.
If you look at it in the positive.
It's absolutely a truth. It's not even a way of thinking. It's a truth. Everybody in your path is there for a reason.
We do complete each other in one way or another. We are all part of this, global oxygen, and we are all breathing the same molecule and interchanging it. We are recycling it along with the people that have passed on and the people who will be after us.
The more success you have, the more success I'm going to have, the more success Leah's going to have, the more success Dr. Corey's going to have, because you are going to change something in the dynamic of the planet that's going to make everything shift. That's how powerful we are. Everything that I do, if I run a red light, even if I do it without getting in a crash, if I run a red light or somebody else runs a red light in front of me, that changes the dynamic of everything. I had to slam on my brakes, I had to hesitate, I had to stop. And it probably, think about this for a minute, it probably stopped me from getting to the next light when somebody else was going to run it and they would have hit me. Everything that happens for a reason. Now, I wanted to quickly address what Joseph said. I think you can be too specific. That's impossible to get
wanted to say
someone real. Yeah, I'm going to let Leah do it because actually I learned this lesson from Leah, so I'm going to let her talk about it.
I was going to speak on. You should have just did it. No, it would have been fine.
It's your lesson. You own it.
With the think of no. I think you should actually do that lesson. I like how you do it.
So the idea is,
wait, but I do want to talk about my 3 C's before you talk to Joseph. Okay. My 3 C's is something that I live by, and I think that people come into contact. I think we all have an obligation to connect with each other and calibrate the relationships and the connection that we have. If we're crossing each other, there is some level of connection that we're supposed to calibrate and work out. Some are higher than others, and that's all okay. But what happens is with the 3 C's is we communicate, and then we connect, and then we calibrate. And then that happens over and over and over and again. And that's the relationship of people. But what happens is there's a sweet spot between every person you come into contact with. I call it the making love. That's where we make love, from my postman, my bank teller, and everyone. And nothing changes from me telling you this. I'm not like making something or putting something on it. It's happening anyway. But if you can look at it differently and know that that's happening and take it on as an obligation that you have to calibrate, and it would behoove you and everyone around you to calibrate that relationship to the precise calibration of what you guys should be, that just elevates your whole surroundings. It changes the way you interact with people. It changes, you look for your end with that person. You look for the sweet spot with each and every person that you encounter, which creates something of a ripple effect that can only elevate us as a species or world or whatever, on whatever level it is.
You know, they have. You know, I just want to share in regards to what Miss Leah is saying. You know, there is many studies have done that all animals, insects, plants, all living things have a natural GPS, and we detect each other based on our hunger, whether it's physical, psychological, or spiritual. In other words, there are different frequencies that draws each other to each other, and we
one thing on that.
Go
ahead.
And I want to.
I was just gonna say one thing on that with the frequencies is that they have counters around the world that just count 1 and 2, 1 and 2. It's like flipping a coin. When you flip a coin, you get heads and tails, and it's half and half. They do the science. You could have tails, half heads. With this counter, it's 1 2 1 2 1 2. So when they put the counters all around the world and big things happen in the world, the counters started to link up. They always just did separate things. They never link up. But once we like when 9/11 happened or Princess Diana happened, those random counters all around the world decided that they were going to link up in those moments, that we were all concentrating on the same thing. We all had the same feeling. We are all connected, and we vibrate off of each other. And that's where we get our power, our inner power, and it's just beyond our knowledge of even
Buddha
Go ahead.
in Buddha's studies, Buddha has said in so many words that, many people are striving to enlighten people and wake people up. But Buddha said, once you become enlightened, everything becomes enlightened, and you don't even have to go enlighten things anymore. You seeing everything with your own enlightened eyes, which is the third eye actually. When you start to see and you awaken yourself, and it's a shift that happens sooner or later in your life at some point in time. And the reason that we all get here is because we're looking for those nuggets to get fed off of. And when that shift happens, in other words, the second, they say in so many biblical studies that the second coming of Jesus, and for Jews, the Messiah will come back, and all these other kind of religions, they have it all. But Buddha said, once you become enlightened, you don't need to wait anymore. It's already, you see it.
And I want to share two things. One, I want to answer Joseph's question, but before that, I want to share something about Leah. And I don't even know if she's giving me permission to do this. But
she doesn't need any explanations. Just look at her. Come on.
So how we're all connected. I know for a fact that Leah, when she goes for a coffee in the morning,
oh, you guys know each other like personally, from coffee?
We've connected over the past couple of months. And we know.
Oh, good. So you in Canada too?
No, she's in California with you. But I know for a fact when she goes for a coffee, because I've talked to her about this, right? So when she goes for a coffee, she goes to the barista and they ask for her name, and she won't give her name. She'll say beautiful, butterfly, powerful, some other word that empowers her. But I'm going to share this with you because I know it happens. It also empowers the person who's writing it. And they get a smile. And if you can make a person smile even for 10 seconds in their day, you are changing the world. You are changing their world. And she does it every single day. And I'm sorry if I overstep my bounds on that one, but it's such a powerful thing that she does. And it's amazing. And we should all do it. We should go in there and say, well, when they say your name, I'm Thor, I'm whatever. I mean, do it. We should just do it.
Tomorrow I'm going to go and I'm going to say, what's your name? I'm going to say beautiful.
Yeah. Why not? Iron Man. I'm Iron Man. I don't even know, right? I'm Batman. I don't even know what you say, but you just do something, right?
But it is a good point.
I think
it's a very natural thing that
simplest things.
It's a very natural thing that when we are in love, we see, everything looks so wonderful.
It's amazing.
And, it's just one. Yeah, I mean, me and my wife, we have been married for a few years now, but you know what? I'm still I feel like I'm in love because whenever I look at her, it's just like the first day that we happen to meet each other.
You haven't aged at all, either of you.
But I tell her all the time, and I tell everybody all the time. I said, you know what? You gotta keep on fueling your fire. You can never, leave it alone and just say, what's the other gentleman's name? I forget. What's your the arc?
That's right.
Archetype. I wanted to say that, for example, the things that you're saying reminds me that yes, we need to check our fire. We need to put fuel in our fire. We need to start it up and give it a jump start if we have to, but never get rid of that fire and never let it, not be, gazing out, because passion is always first. Passion always comes first.
I think Quick Fix knows what I'm talking about because I think Leah uses the word amazing a lot. Okay, so Joseph, you said, I think we can be too specific. That is impossible to get someone real. So I get that in making your list so specific that you basically have blinders and you don't see anything other than what's on your list. And if you remember when I was talking about the list, I said it's a fluid list, right? I said you're always going to be adding and subtracting. You might have on your list, like my one client, she had on her list, she wanted a guy with long hair that plays the guitar. Well, she met a guy with short hair that played the guitar, so the long hair wasn't quite as important. But what Leah taught me is what you have to do at the end of this list is once you've got your 100 items that you believe to be your ideal, and again, that'll grow and shrink, is at the end of it, the last one you put on there is this plus more. Because we do not know, and I don't even know if we could know how awesome things can be.
Yeah.
And what the universe can actually bring us. What the awesomeness is that it could bring us something that we can't even imagine. I mean, we've been landed on the freaking moon. Who imagined that 100 years ago? Seriously? Right? If you believe we landed on the moon, we landed on the moon, right? So, but I mean, there's so many advances and so many things that we're capable of doing.
Ken, let me ask you a question. So let me ask you a question, Ken. So how would you explain the people that apply this rule all the time? I mean, they sit down, they picture a beautiful life, they ask the universe for a lot of beautiful things. I mean, they apply it to the T, right? And nothing. How do you explain that? I mean, if it's a simple.
Don't imagine it too long. They got to do work too.
I'm sorry, I missed the question. How do I explain that nothing happens?
So for example, nothing happens. I mean, there are a lot of people that apply. What are you saying? They apply. They sit down. They picture a beautiful life. They ask for beautiful things. They do everything the way you said it, and nothing happens.
Okay.
Nothing happens.
There's always something that happens.
Yeah.
There's always
something always happens.
But
yeah, of course, something happens. But I'm talking about specifics, the things that they ask for.
I think it gets confusing of how people are supposed to ask for things as well. Because when I first learned from Ken, because I'm not a law of attraction coach, Ken basically taught me about law of attraction, and I believe it to be very true. I watch him manifest things on a daily, all the time. But what he basically taught me is that we kind of can think, and our mind kind of gets it twisted when we're asking for something, because he used to say the universe doesn't hear, don't not know. And I'd be like, so when you say you don't want to be late for work, the universe doesn't hear the don't. It just doesn't want to be. You want to be late for work. So I was sitting there and I was like, I heard him and I understood that, but I was like, why would the universe take my word out? I'm telling them descriptive ways that I want it because that's what I need from the universe. But the universe doesn't get the words in that sense. It's communication of a feeling and a vibration. So once you say, I don't want to be late for work, what do? You envision sneaking in, you envision clocking in, trying to get away from your boss and doing all that. So that's what you gravitated to. Instead of saying, I would like to be on time for work today. And that's really asking the universe for what you really want. I want to be on time for work today, and I want to be a model employee and show up for my job.
You have to eliminate the word don't not know. You type in, go to the internet right now. Is your wife around?
Yes.
Go to the internet right now and type in no porn and see what comes up.
Oh, don't do that. Don't listen to Ken.
You know it's going to come up, right?
Yeah. That's a good
okay? It's the same with the universe. You type in no football. Type in no football. What do you think is going to come up? Football. Football's going to come up.
It needs to be tweaked how people are speaking to the
universe.
universe.
Not know. The internet doesn't. Do you have a dog? Do you have a dog?
No, I have a cat.
Okay. For people who have dogs, I use this example all the time. Go tell your dog we're not going to the park. We're not going to the park. Right? What do you think? Dogs' tails going crazy. All that. Right? We're going to the park. It's the same thing. People make the mistake all the time, and that's why I said don't listen to do list.
Yeah, like they say, don't focus on the elephant in the room. and people
You
all,
are going to get whatever you focus on. If you focus on the things you don't want, I don't want to be late for work. I don't want to hit a red light. I don't want to eat that last piece of pie downstairs, right? If you tell yourself you don't want to eat the last piece of pie that's in the fridge downstairs, all you're thinking about is a piece of pie. You're not going to sleep until you eat that piece of pie. You and I both know that. So who are we kidding, right?
but I want to say something as a, like my scientific,
1 second, guys.
Yeah.
1 second.
Sure.
Okay.
my scientific, my science skills is that I want, for him to hear too, but maybe you guys can explain. The situation is that, for example, I do any of you cook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a great cook.
Okay, I love cooking too.
Jerk chicken.
Not too much, but I do cook. I like cooking for my wife too.
Joseph
So,
could.
but the situation with cooking, I mean, life is just like cooking. Like, when you're cooking something that it takes, it's Joseph, right?
Faisal.
Okay. Faisal, like we are talking about, like, you said, what about what you said? What about if we ask for something and it doesn't happen? Something like that you were asking.
Yes.
With my scientific background, like, there are some things that when it comes, for example, cooking, when you cook, I don't know if you cook, but there is certain time that it takes to cook the meat or the vegetable or this and that, if depending on the dish that you're cooking. But the better you get at your cooking, you know how to manipulate the cooking in order to come out a little earlier. So life is like that too. If you, for example, wanted something and it didn't happen as fast as you want, maybe you haven't learned to master your life in a way that you could make things happen faster for you. And the more time you put into focusing on how to make something happen, it's like you become a good cook in a sense. That you know how to manipulate the environment in order to get what you want. I'm not saying that to become a manipulator, but to become a good cook, that because of your life, everybody would say, oh, Mr. How do you say? Faisal is like delicious.
Like
Faisal is delicious to be around. Just like the trees that you mentioned. I mean, that's a nugget that I got in here, because everyone gave me a nugget. Like for Ken was the law of attraction. For Leah, I love her flower. I mean, this is a perfect place to really make a good meal here.
Like one of my cyber mentors once said, and to be honest, I'm not sure how I feel about the phrase, but I remember it, so I repeat it. He said, Ty Lopez, he said, the universe is not yet crazy enough to reward people who are not willing to do the work. Right? Because you need to be ready, right? Because you can have it all. That's the thing. People don't even know they can have it all, right?
That's another
People
book.
Say you can have anything, but you can't have everything. I'm not even sure that's true, right? I'm not even sure that phrase is true, because I could have everything, maybe not all at the same time, right? But I can't think of anything that if I applied myself, I couldn't have. I could learn Spanish. I could learn guitar. I could bench press 300 if I worked at it. I don't even know, right? If I worked hard enough, I could have my Ferrari, or somebody would give it to me. I mean, sometimes all you have to do is ask, right? So, and why, and Leah, I'm going to let you say this one, because this is something that you learned from a seminar, something about you already have the no.
That's mine. You already said. I thought you said I learned it at a seminar.
What is it?
It's just really simple. You already have a no. You got to take a chance on the yes.
Yeah.
I mean, because with without asking, you have the no. It's already a no.
Yeah.
So what are you afraid of? Go and take the chance for the yes. And what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to get the no you had before when you started.
Love it.
That's a good.
It's all good. And then you're
It's
putting
so
out
good.
into the world even what you want. When you're asking people, you never know who hears, what the time it took you to be over there with that person. That's what you need to do. You always just need to be in tune with yourself and just do what you know is for you. So that's why you have a bliss list, and you follow your bliss list through your life your whole time, and you always stay in tune with yourself, doing what you need to do and responding and resonating with what resonates with you, because it always keeps you on your path to get what you're supposed to get and be where you're supposed to be. So just be really in tune with yourself. So you'll get what you need, exactly what you need.
Wraps it up with a nice, pretty bow, but it's all the choice of how you use your
I'm gonna
time.
try this week. I'm gonna try this week. Good.
You know, another thing that I like to mention about money issue, because it always comes up that people say, you know what, I want this amount or this kind of income and this and that. Like I'm not a millionaire, but I've seen people that, I've talked to many people that they have, achieved, a lot of financial success, but when you talk to them, they're so immature in their feeling part. But I wish I could talk to more of guys like you. But the situation is that, money is again another thing. People think they have to have a business sense, or they have to have a common sense, or they have to have some. I know that people that they just, like, for example, buy something on stock market or something, and just by in their intuition, and they have been getting rich just because of trusting their feeling or something. I mean, like, and people that, like, they're trying to see how they do it.
No, don't
And
worry
you know what?
about
I talk to these rich people that they invest in real estate, this, that, and just because they mastered their intuition, they're and they could be educated and they could be not, and I've met them both.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that the question of money, even, or the bucket list and this and that, and I don't have the money, and if I had more kind of a calculation type of thing is
bogus.
That's not the point. That's not the point. If we want to have whatever we want in our life, we have to really tune in instead of tuning out.
And ask, you know what? People tell me all the time, that's the number one thing. When I'm talking to people, they say, I want money, right?
Yeah.
And then I ask them why. And what they really want money for is something else. They either want freedom, they want a new boat, they want a new car. Well, then go for the car. Don't worry about how you're going to get the car. I'll share this story with you. There was a woman that was in one of my seminars that I was doing at the local college here, and she told me that she wanted to raise, I can't remember what it was, it's $300,000 for an orphanage somewhere. And she wanted to know how she was going to do it. I said, you know what? You don't even need to worry about the how. There is so many ways that the universe can bring you what you need, that, again, it's like Joseph was saying earlier, right? Yeah. If you limit your path, you limit your path, right? You don't want to do that. There's so many ways for you to get what you want, ways we can't even fathom. And Anthony Robbins, he talks about the electricity to the light bulb, right? You turn on the switch, the electricity goes to the light bulb. I don't know how it works. I don't even know how it gets to the switch. I don't need to know how. I just need to know what I have to do to get that to work, right? Yeah. And what I have to do is figure out what it is I want. I want the light to go on. I need to give it attention, energy, and focus, which is okay. Think about the light going on, and I need to do the works, right? Turn it on. That's it, right? That's it. So there's so many ways for you to accomplish what you want to accomplish, that if you limit yourself to one path, if you don't open yourself up to all the paths, you're going to miss an opportunity.
And I have seen people, the more this like what you're saying, Ken, the more people like get into it and they apply it and they master it, they become more and more quieter. They become more quiet. They become just like a walking example. They don't have to explain to anybody how it works, why it works, whatever. They just like say to others. They may just become mentors to others and say, Just follow me, and I'm going to show you how it works. That's all
Mia,
it
you were going to
takes.
say.
Oh, I was just going to speak about how I said to narrow your path because we're on autopilot, and then you can go straight to your destination by taking it step by step, and there's no confusion. You just get there in time and energy. And I don't mean by limiting your path of how you get there. Leave that completely open. You don't need to do that. That's why you get to go on autopilot, so you could just kind of go on that path and bump around and experience things and not just be mapping things out. So
I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were asking me how I was going to achieve one of my goals.
Yeah.
And I looked at them, and I said, actually, I don't worry about the how. And they said, what do you mean you don't worry about the how? And I said, I've never worried about the how. I figured out what I want because attention, energy, and focus. I believe I could do it. I know I can do it because you know we're so capable. I believe I can do it, and I believe I'm worthy of my goal, right? And those are that's it. That's all you need, right? And he said, well, what about the how? Don't you need a plan? Don't you know? I said, sure. Have a plan, then throw it out the window. I said, because I swear to you, if you have a plan, something is going to come up that you didn't plan for, and now you're not going to be able to use your plan anyway. And he says, well, then what do you do? Like, how do you know you're going to get there? And I said, look, it's a lesson I learned when I was 6 years old from my father. I said, I was sitting at the breakfast table and I had a box of Captain Crunch in front of me. You remember Captain Crunch? It was so good, so sweet, so delicious. Lots of milk, and it kind of hurt the roof of your mouth a little bit, but it was tasty, it was delicious. So I had this box of Captain Crunch, and you can go to I swear you could do this. You can go to the grocery store today, pick up a box of Captain Crunch, and on the back of the box of Captain Crunch is a maze, and it has the captain down here, and usually a pot of gold up here. And you have to find the correct path to the pot of gold. Get the captain the pot of gold. You remember those when you were a kid on the back of on the back of your cereal?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My father said to me, he said, look, what you want to do is you know where you want to go. The goal is the goal. Start there and work your way back because there's only one path. So you have to know where you want to go.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It makes perfect sense. I learned that when I was 6, and I'm still using it today.
Yeah.
There's only one path, and it will be shown to you. It will be clear. You don't need to figure out the how. Just figure out where you're going.
And then you got to imagine that if you have these other paths that are going off, and if we're on autopilot, we're still rumbling through these other paths. But if you eliminate these other paths, we can go on autopilot because I don't know the switch to get people off autopilot just all in one little switch. So we still have to move forward in whatever our reality is. And the reality of our situation is we're on autopilot. So let's remove the path so we can still get to that big end game on autopilot. Because I like to know what. Go ahead.
Bring your goal to you. Don't go to your goal, right? Really successful people know that they can have their goals chase them. They don't have to chase their goals.
Well, you know, successful people always say that success is a process, it's not an end game. So they don't believe that they're successful. They're saying, I'm still, following my dreams.
Well, sure, because when we don't reach our potential, right? Our goal is to reach our potential, and our potential is unlimited. So we just have to keep reaching new potential. I mean, that's the game. That's it, right? But don't be arrogant. Don't think you have till tomorrow. Get some shit done today. You still have an hour and a half left in today. What? Are you kidding me? Right?
And I love that Joseph said barter over there.
Yeah.
I love Joseph that he said barter over there because that cash is nothing but a piece of paper, some silk, and some dye. It is an IOU, and even without the barter, today barter has become leverage. So just like when I found out that Grant Cardone was $50,000, just because I don't have $50,000, I can still leverage Grant Cardone. He was available on my day and willing to come. So I leveraged that with the event, and I get a partner, and I get Grant Cardone at the event. You can leverage everything. But the point of me knowing I wanted Grant Cardone would help me leverage that. I wanted a Tesla. I feel like I manifested a cheaper Tesla because I was like, I want a Tesla. I really do. But I needed the cheaper. What happened? And Tesla came out for much cheaper. I feel like it was manifested for me, And, but, it's really
like do that stuff.
You really can. I watch Ken manifest some crazy stuff. He really manifests some crazy. I be like, oh my goodness. So it's insane what he
And then,
manifests.
but then
So
it's work,
try it
right?
at least.
But once.
Even if you don't think it works, it's
Mhm.
still, do you believe that it puts you, it gives you action and steps to where it leads you to where you're supposed to be in that area? It surrounds you with that energy that you wouldn't be surrounded with if you weren't talking about it or living in it or researching it or thinking about it or knowing that you wanted to go there. You wouldn't be actively moving in it. So that's what the progress is to actively move in it, whether that's the law of attraction or the universe handing it to you on a silver platter, because is that what it is? Or is it you taking action and being clear on what you really want? You know,
You know
you can
what?
look at it
Sometimes
however
it's
you want.
both. It could be
Yeah.
both.
Yeah. And then
It could be,
just,
Exactly, I agree with
it could
you.
be both.
So I already have a no, so I'm gonna try the
Right?
yes with this. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try it and see what's gonna
Just
happen. I mean,
ask.
what's the worst can
Yeah.
happen?
Just
oh yeah.
ask. So the
Thank
three
you. Look, I said
points.
something other than my flower, Dr. Corey.
So the
Well,
four
you
things,
know, your
right?
flower says it all.
Thank you, Dr.
You have
But
to
you know
eliminate the
what?
words don't not know from your
Eh,
vocabulary. Most people use the words don't not know 150 times before noon. So you've got to be hyper aware of how many times you're using it and how many times you're hearing it. You've got to get clear on what your desire is. You've got to give it attention, energy, and focus. And that's really the works. And then you've got to believe that you deserve it and that you can do it.
Yeah. And
That's
it's
it.
done. It's done. I'd like to know a goal that you think is like that you couldn't manifest. So I just want you to go out and manifest it, because I don't see there's any goal that you could possibly come up sitting in this chair right now that you can't obtain.
Is there anything?
Let's see.
Huge of the
Well, there's
hugest, biggest of the biggest.
a lot of things.
Get one.
I mean,
One.
I'm convinced. All right, let's name one.
The love, the bliss, the one that makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. You know, oh my gosh.
What would make me? I would like to live in the here and now. I would like to live in the peace of mind, with the peace of mind.
That
I would
feels
like
really
to learn
good.
how to
I want you to know
really
it is amazing.
instead of living in the
Yeah.
future. And
Mhm.
Can I share something with you? You, in my humble opinion, you don't have a choice, right? You don't have a choice. You only have the here and now, right? And I talk
Right.
about this in my seminars. So when I refer to it as worry. A lot of people worry about the things that have already happened, which is crazy because you can't change them. They've already happened.
Mhm.
Or they worry about things that are going to happen, which is crazy because you're in complete control and you can change them, right? You are in control of what's going to happen to you, or at least how you're going to react to what happened to you. So you're in control of that. So there's no reason to worry about it, and you can only live in the now. Unfortunately, I washed my hands before I started. I have a watch that only has a face that just says now. It only
That's
has
what
the word
time
now.
it is. It's now.
There's no hands, there's no numbers, because I remember the universe is checking with me right now to see how I'm feeling, to see what I'm thinking about, and to see what I'm thinking about that thing, right? It's checking now, it's checking now, it's checking with you now, and it's checking with Dr. Corey now, and it's checking with Leah now, and it's checking with Joseph now, and it's checking with Mike now. It's checking with us all the time to see what we're thinking about and whether it's positive or negative, right? And then it has one job only, to match that, to unfold and orchestrate events that will match whatever your vibration is, whether it's positive or negative towards that thing. That's why if you say, I don't want to be late for work, don't is negative, late for work is what you're thinking about, you're going to be late for work. It's that simple. It's not rocket surgery. It's just the energies that are out there, and its job is to match, unfold and orchestrate what you're thinking about so that you get more of it. So you get more of it because that's what it thinks you want. It doesn't know if it's good for you or doesn't, or it's not. It doesn't know if you want it or not. Doesn't know whether you're daydreaming about it or whether you were thinking about it a minute ago or whether whatever. It doesn't know that stuff. All it knows is match what he's thinking about now. Give him more of the same, because obviously if he's thinking about it, he wants it. It's not very smart. It's obedient. That's why it's called a law.
I think another thing why it doesn't help is because when people get to the belief part, they believe it and they're really going forward and they dive in and they put all their energy into it, and then it doesn't work and they're like, oh, well, like, you got to do it until you do it. Like, don't already anticipate the amount of times that you're going to have to go in and do this. Everybody gets turned off and turned away at the very first time. Like, no, it takes a lot of energy and work to calibrate it and get it to where you need it to be. Go ahead, Dr. Corey.
Yeah, I just wanted to also say that within those lines of what you guys are talking about is the fact that I learned a lot of things from sports psychology. Like, you know, they say athletes, their coaches, they teach them, you know, like, first of all, you got to believe it. Number two, you got to keep on looking at it or see it. Number three, you got to do it so much that you don't have to think about it anymore because it's in your muscle memory.
Muscle memory. Mm-hmm.
So when it's in your muscle memory, it's like, you know, someone who's a fencing expert.
Mm-hmm,
They
mm-hmm.
have been fencing and or martial arts. I know martial arts, and I did that when I was going through my martial arts training. That I did it like one stupid move so many times that by the time that the, you know, teacher would come around to, you know, slap me on the head anymore, I would block him, like without any hesitation. So you know, half the time I was getting hit on the head, you know, and until, you know, one day he came around and I just boom, and he said, "Okay, now you're ready."
But that's
it.
why you can't have it on a whole monetizing kind of a spirit of what you're going for. It has to be what you really love and what's in you, because you got to live and breathe this, and it has to be you every day. I mean, even when you're in the trenches of the worst of your job or your passion, it still needs to be blissful to you. It still needs to be great.
Because you're learning. It's preparing you for what's coming. It's always preparing you.
We gotta do shadow boxing with our dreams so many times that it becomes like ingrained in our muscle brain, brain muscle memory, whatever, all memory.
You know, they did a study, and I think it was
like
at the University
Matrix,
of California, where they had the virtual reality glasses on athletes. And they had them in a lounge chair, and they watched a race go in their virtual, like they were in the race, and they hooked them up to all the electrodes and everything else, and every muscle fired in the exact same sequence as if they were running the race.
Nice.
Yeah.
They weren't running the race.
It just went.
But it was what they were thinking about, and every muscle fired in the exact same sequence as it did as if they were running the race. Now, this is funny because it occurred to me last night, actually, while I was sleeping. I had a leg jar. Have you ever had that, where your leg just kind of, you've never had that? Right? Okay, here's what happened to me, okay? And I remember this happened to me because it was the weirdest thing. And I thought, yeah, your mind is so freaking powerful, right? So I was actually having a dream, and I'd stepped off the curb, right? But I didn't plan to step off the curb, so I sort of tripped. And when I tripped, my leg jarred. Does that ever happen to you in a dream when you're right?
Like a leg cramp, I think.
In that situation, your mind is controlling everything that's happening to you, and you're in a dream, total dream state, and wham! All of a sudden your arm moves or your leg moves or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's that's the control.
Yeah.
Right? That's the control.
Yeah, I'm doing an accountability fitness thing, and I'm going hiking every day. And it's a rigorous hike. It's about 5 miles. It's uphill, it's elevated, it's everything. And sometimes it's like when I'm looking at the full hill and I'm going up it, it's like my mind is like, oh my God, you can't go. I call it the mind like your overprotective parent. You know, it wants to protect you. It's like, oh my God, you need to rest. You didn't have enough water. This is enough. You did enough. Turn back around now. But it's like, when I get that in my mind, I have to calm my mind down, and then I'll just take my eyes off that big, long way that I have and not have the mind have that ability to psych me out. So I'll look down at my feet, and what I'll do is I'll just go left, right, and just focus on what I need to do. And before long, I'll look up and I'm almost there. So the mind is just trying to protect you like an overprotective parent. But the more you prove the mind wrong and you go through it, the mind will have that muscle memory and not even give you that pushback and let you grow and elevate the way that you want. And you're supposed to change and elevate and change those connectors and those roadmaps in your brain to you. That's what you want to calibrate.
That's a good example, because our body, you know,
will go.
Takes us maybe, you know, like a little bit there. Our mind will take us a little bit more there, but our spirit will get us there.
when your legs won't work, walk with your heart, you know, and then
Exactly.
just keep going. And I say, you know, people give up when they're hiking and stuff because I gotta keep them motivated. It's not when you decide to stop and you just can't go on no more. It's when you've told your leg to move forward and it won't go. And this is after you've told your leg to move forward, you know, 20, 30 times and it won't go. Then that's when you're done. Otherwise, your mind is just choosing that you're turning around, you're quitting, you're giving up. You know, and every single time I've showed up for this group, I've made it all the way through, and I've been so tired. It's been a lot going on, and I just get there and I do it. But my mind, the first 30 minutes is like, oh no, this is the worst pain ever. This is torture. You can't do it. And then after the 30 minutes, it's like my endorphins have kicked in, and I'm on fire, and it's amazing. That's the same thing that's going to happen in life. So when people are using a law of attraction, and then they're kind of thinking a little bit wrong, they're on autopilot. They're getting the wrong thing delivered to them, and then they're trying with this wrong delivery, not taking into calibration and accountability that it's a little bit off, and then they're trying to put it into work, and wow, oh my God, I didn't get what I was supposed to get, and then they're all pouty and they're done, they're out. Oh my God, law of attraction doesn't work.
Well,
let me just say one thing very quick. Happy wife, happy life.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Bye. Goodbye.
Now listen, let me ask you this. So I'm new to this. How am I going to follow the group? I followed you guys.
I followed you.
I would
on
like
Facebook
to do this
already.
again.
I found you when you were
So I
talking.
followed you guys.
Dr. Corey won't accept my invitation. That's okay though.
Yeah, I do.
How does it work? How am I going to find this group again?
We are usually our schedule is Wednesdays at 8:45. We come on and we do this. But I've got Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram.
What's your
my web page? My web page is youmayhaveheardofme.com or kendixon.com. There's two N's in Ken.
Okay. All right, so is there a reminder? Do I receive a reminder when the group comes in on Wednesday or no?
Can they? Yeah. You know more about this than me. Can they follow?
Yeah, if he's following us, he'll get a reminder. And if it's set in your settings that you actually get an email for when someone sets a blab, then you'll get a reminder from us. But I followed you, Facel. So if you accept my follow on Facebook, I always post me and Ken are blabbing or something like that. So you have a request from me. And Dr. Corey, you do too, but you didn't accept it. So I took it back the other day.
Oh, which one was that? Where? Facebook?
Oh, yeah, she's not messing around.
Yeah, I took it back. I was like, Dr. Corey, you hating?
Which one? Oh, maybe I made a mistake, but go on LinkedIn or my website or my, Twitter, and post it again. That's fine. Sometimes I don't recognize things and I may make a mistake,
Yeah, I don't have purple hair in my picture or a pretty flower.
I appreciate you. I just saw you on my Facebook, so I confirmed.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna look for you, Ken.
I tried to find you and I can't see you on Facebook. I don't know. There's a bunch of different with your name. So.
Oh, I investigated. I looked for his motorcycle.
Oh,
yep.
Motorcycle.
Listen, yeah. Listen, let's do this again next Wednesday, okay?
Yeah, we'll be here.
Guys,
all right.
Now,
let me think.
We normally only go an hour, but we got a little long.
You guys are so great, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, and I have to get going as well.
Bye, Dr. Corey.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you again. All right, everybody.
Thank you.
See you.
All right. Faisal, you were about to say?
I was gonna say thank you for creating this group. I really appreciate it, and I will be there Wednesday. Leah, you and I are friends. I'm gonna look for Ken.
Yep.
I'm friends with him on there too.
Please shoot me a reminder about Wednesday. What time Wednesday?
8:45 every Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's make it a little earlier. Can we make it a little 8, maybe 8? I wake up at 4. Tomorrow
I know, it's hard to please everybody, my friend, but
don't worry about it, man.
It's just one of those things. It's actually 9 to 10, but I go 15 minutes early just to sort of warm up. Yeah.
Works for me. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
Nice meeting you.
Thanks for stopping in. Nice to meet you. It was great to meet you.
Absolutely. Hello.
Hi,
Hey,
Mike. How are you,
doing?
love?
I'm incredible.
Oh,
Yeah, you
you
are.
are incredible.
How are you?
Amazing, amazing.
You are incredible.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Mike. Oh, it wasn't me.
It may have been, I don't know.
Damn, I'm going to manifest you up in Columbus.